I'm sure you can relate to this. You set out to accomplish losing weight and you went to the gym consistently for a week and then now it's been a month and you haven't been there. Or maybe you're like, yep, I'm getting ready to launch that podcast. I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna launch this podcast, and you record one episode, you're pumped up, and then before you know it, it's been 2 months and no episodes have been recorded. The reality is, if we want to actually accomplish our goals, we have to show up for our goals consistently. If you want to have a healthy savings account, you have to save consistently. If you want to launch your blog, you have to write consistently. If you want to be healthy, you have to eat right consistently. Going after your goals is not a one and done. You can't do it one time and expect positive results or life-changing results. And so today I want to talk about how you can be more consistent as it relates to your goals. Consistency is mandatory if you want to make progress and if you actually desire to find success. And so the first step to be consistent is to identify your why. The reality is motivation fades. One day you'll be super pumped up, super excited, super motivated, and then the next day you won't be. And if you base going after your goals only on motivation alone, you'll never show up for your goals consistently. So a great strategy to combat that is to identify your why. What is the reason behind why you're wanting to accomplish this goal? Because when you have a strong why, you'll always make room for the how. I remember writing my very first book and I didn't know, how I was always going to do it. But I remember that my why was to leave a legacy for my daughters. My why was to change people's lives all over the world. And so every morning my alarm clock would go off and I'd have to get up and start typing and writing out my book. I still showed up because it was so much bigger than me. And when you recognize that that goal that you have is a lot bigger than you, then you continue to show up even when you don't have that motivation. And in turn, you gain the momentum, which increases your motivation. The second step is to keep your why nots in mind. In fact, I challenge you to write a list of your why nots. And by why nots, I mean the reasons why not you should give up, why you should not give up, okay? So maybe for you, you should not give up on going after the dream job that you want because you're miserable where you're at. Or maybe for you, you should not give up on applying for grad school because you know how many doors could open up for you if you just have this additional degree or this additional certification. Or maybe for you, why you should not give up is because someone told you that your blog post changed their entire life. List all the why nots, and when you find yourself lacking a little bit of motivation or starting to fall off the consistency wagon, read your why nots and then continue to show up knowing that these why nots are going to drive you closer to your goals. The third step is to lay out a plan. Now, don't just lay out any plan, but lay out a good plan. Think about it. If you're driving somewhere new, you're going to have somewhat of a roadmap. So you're doing something new, you'll also need a roadmap as well. So determine what your current routine, habits, and behaviors look like and lay out a plan according to that. For example, if you're like, you drive past Starbucks every single day, but you really, really want to lose weight, maybe part of your plan is that you're going to take a different route to work. For you, maybe you're really wanting to start a blog, but you spend far too much time watching Netflix. Look at where that Netflix block is in your schedule and lay out a plan to combat that so that instead you're using that time to write or to research. It's important that you lay out a plan that actually aligns with what you want. Far too often we create plans that are so outlandish and it's like, how can that even happen? And we set ourselves up for failure before it even exists. I can't tell you how many people are like, all right, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week, but they haven't worked out for 18 years. Set a plan that's realistic, but a plan you can achieve. Or I've had people come to me and create plans and like, I'm gonna quit my job and work on my business, but it's like, you don't even have your business identified. So keep your job and work on your business around it for right now until you get up and running. Whatever it may be, you gotta have a plan and you gotta have a thorough plan that's going to set you up for success. The next step is to take action. What good is having a goal, having a plan, and all these other things if you're not actually gonna take action? Think about it. If you're like, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds, but then you go sit down and eat a bowl of ice cream. Or you write out this really thorough plan and then you get a sandwich and you're like, well, whatever, I'll come to it later. You can't do that. In order to achieve what you desire, you gotta show up for what it is that you actually want. So it's important that you take action. Now, I know that this step can often overwhelm people because there's so many steps when you're creating a new goal. But what I always say is small steps lead to large results. So what I challenge you to do is think of what is one small step that you can take every single day that'll get you closer to the results that you desire. That's the best way to start off with action, because then you're gaining the momentum you need to keep showing up, because the closer you get to the results, the more excited you get, the more ready you are to keep diving in further and further. Finally, the last step is to give yourself grace. Here's the reality. We should write our goals with permanent marker and our steps with pencil. And what I mean by that is, don't create a plan and then be unwilling to move or alter from that plan. Your job is to write out your goal in permanent marker, meaning that is the thing that you're keeping your focus on, but also be willing to give yourself grace if there's different ways that you need to get there. So for example, maybe you do really, really well with working out 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week, but you don't find that out until 2 weeks in. That's okay. Give yourself grace to adjust that. Give yourself grace to forgive yourself. Or maybe you're doing really, really well for 3 weeks and then you fall short for a day or two. That's okay. Give yourself grace. The harder you are on yourself and the more you beat yourself up and the more limiting beliefs and negative thinking you have, the less likely you're going to continue to show up for that goal. But the more you forgive yourself, the more you provide yourself grace, the more you show up for the goal, ultimately getting you closer to it. The reality is, we're going to have days where we're really successful and we're going to have days where we really struggle. But if you provide yourself grace, it allows you to maintain that consistency with showing up for your goals. Consistency is a hard concept to grasp. We all want it, we know we need it, but we don't necessarily always know how to go after it. That's why I gave you these 5 strategies, so that you can start to increase your consistency on whatever goal it is that you'd like to accomplish. So what I'm going to challenge you to do today is, I'm going to challenge you to think of how you can commit to consistency using these steps today. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. And I want you to move through these steps and really lay out a plan and start to take consistent action in the direction of your dreams. Don't hesitate, don't delay, dive in and start making consistency a part of your regular patterns and routines. If you're looking for more strategic tools to help you on the journey of really designing a life you love, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're wondering if this is all life has to offer, and you're really ready to take those big visions and those big goals and those big dreams and make them your reality, then I have just the thing for you. If you use the link below, you can sign up for my totally free Live Your Best Life guide. And basically, it's a guide that will help you identify what your vision is and how to take strategic action to make it happen. So use the link below. It's totally free, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.